Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for jumping in on this very special AMA. We are streaming live on Party.com platform for this very interesting AMA that we're going to talk with the Monadi team. They are actually one of our first hackathon participants when we ran our first hackathon in Paris. They actually had a really interesting problem that they wanted to solve. And so we're here joined by Vilma and Radu, the founders of Monadi, who's going to give us, number one, an idea about what Monadi really is, what problems they're solving, as well as the current status update on what they will be deploying in mainnet very soon. So, Radu, Vilma, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited about this one. Do you guys want to just do a quick intro for the audience?
Yeah, for sure. I can start. So, hi, I'm Vilma. I am one of the co-founders of Monadi and also one of the co-founders of SDG Monitor, who we were representing when we joined the hackathon in December 2022. And yeah, at SDG Monitor, we build tools to help companies become more sustainable, while also helping them in succeeding in what their core goal or what they're actually doing, and also at the same time always keeping in mind business benefits of sustainability. And SDG Monitor, our team has now been working on Monadi for the past year, and it has been an amazing journey. So thank you for that. And then, yeah, Radu, maybe you say.
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Radu, currently based in Amsterdam together with Vilma. I'm the co-founder of Monadi. On the blockchain side, I specialize in blockchain technologies. And as Vilma said, we started working on Monadi a year ago when I also joined their company. And yeah, we're thrilled to make use of such fun and revolutionary technologies to bring issues and problems in sustainability that companies are currently facing to much ease. And we're trying to promote this as much as possible at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I don't want to give too much away, but I think what's really exciting from my perspective is that you're actually building something that you really can't build anywhere else from a blockchain space. This is something that's new, something that you really can't find in any other apps, and the use cases are pretty interesting. So I'm excited to get into the details of this. Why don't we just start off with what is the main vision of Monadi? What problems are you seeing in the industry, and what are you trying to do to be to solve it?
Yeah, I'll I'll answer that question. So Monadi, as I said already, is an MVP that we hope will become one very important piece in the puzzle when it comes to securing sensitive data while creating more transparency into sustainability related information. And we came up with this idea amid the new regulation that has this year come into effect called the CSRD, or the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, where companies in Europe will have to report sustainability related information, and the underlying data is going to be very sensitive. And they need to answer questions such as, like, what is the gender pay gap, which is what our use case is focusing on, and a little bit more about that later. But so what is the gender pay gap? And you need to answer questions about the workers in the value chain, or for example, when it comes to products, what kind of materials you're using and chemicals, etc. And we want to ensure that this kind of that we can create a credible data trail for this kind of sensitive data. Now, what other problems there are what we are also seeing in the industry is that we need to be able to comply to this regulation without losing competitive advantage. And this is something that we believe is going to be a challenge for the European companies, because they need to, because the European Union now has this new mandatory reporting regulation on ESG matters. Like, countries outside of Europe don't have to report this. So we see a risk that maybe companies leave out very important information not to lose competitive advantage. And as I already mentioned earlier, this kind of data trail, so that you know where this data is coming from, and like starting from the source of the data. And also coming to the competitive advantage, maybe companies are more reluctant to leave out to be fully transparent. And we hope that Partisia blockchain technologies can help us with solving this problem.
So you talked a little bit about CSRD, and it is a regulation that is coming out that companies are now going to be required to comply with these regulations about sustainability. Is that accurate?
That's correct. That's correct. So the CSRD stands for Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and this is a standardized framework for businesses in the EU to report on their sustainability practices. And the aim here is also to make sustainability reporting as comprehensive and standardized as financial reporting. And in addition to this, it is here to indeed provide and to bring greater transparency regarding sustainability data. And also is this approach is also designed for fostering a more sustainable economic model that even integrates these kind of ESG matters into corporate strategy even. So starting from 2024, the first batch of companies will have to start reporting, and this CSRD is phased over several years, but indeed this year is the first companies will have to come out with the data.
Mm. So the first data that we talked about, you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned the gender pay gap as one of the focus areas that you are focusing on for the CSRD regulation, but there are also other phases that are happening, it sounds like, whether it's the chemical use or any other information that seems to me requires a level of privacy. Like, if you want to address the gender pay gap, you have to know how much a person's salary is before you can analyze and prove that, hey, for this organization, there is no gender pay gap. Or for this organization, yes, there is a gender pay gap, and this is how much it is. These are very private information. So number one, what are the different phases of CSRD? Where are we with it right now? And what are some of the phases?
I think I can answer to that right now. Currently, since this is the first year that sustainability reporting is mandated under CSRD, it is not yet clear how companies will do it. CSRD covers over 2,000 data points, over 2,000 aspects in terms of ESG have to be disclosed from companies. So you can imagine this is massive data. A lot of this data is very sensitive, and a lot of companies do not want to or do not yet know how to disclose such data securely. We do expect that companies will start by outsourcing this work. They will hire consultants for help because this topic is so new, so complex. But lately, we've also been noticing that more and more tools are becoming available for regulations such as CSRD. So our hope, and we strongly believe that companies will be ready to use very soon technologies such as blockchain, and especially Partisia blockchain, to ease this process. Especially when we'll for sure dive into maybe a bit of what we do at Monadi and the zero knowledge technologies that we use from Partisia, where that is actually the key that solves issues and massive issues like data privacy.
And I also think that what Radu was saying also earlier. So now the current status is mainly about identifying what data they need. But the good thing is that more and more tools are coming out, and we hope that the next part will really be focused on this, on the data itself, so the management, and in that case also the collection management, and then how the data is going to be reported.
Mm.
The only problem here is that there's currently no precedent to this. Companies do not know how to do this. They have not done such a reporting yet. They've only been handling financial reporting. The aim of this reporting is also to be as similar to financial reporting, but it handles completely different data. So companies have not yet had to do such processes yet.
Yeah, and I could imagine that this is a very sensitive and difficult and challenging for organizations. To me, it does actually fit perfectly with the technology that Partisia Blockchain really offers through its multi-party computation, to be able to privatize these information, whether they're salary or whether they're supply chain information or whether they are, the chemicals that they use, or how do they dispose of the chemicals, whatever the different regulation is. These are company secrets that I think will be very difficult to prove without exposing their data naturally. And so it does sound like a perfect fit. And I wanna delve a little bit deeper into how your solution really works. But before that, how did you guys hear about Partisia Blockchain?
That's a pretty simple story. We have been invited by you guys. I still remember the day when I think by Frank to join the Partisia Blockchain hackathon. It was held in December 2022 in Paris. I can still remember it was my first actual work trip, where I actually managed to, and together with Vilma, we built such an incredible MVP and a project, because it was just on paper by then. We had to go to Paris and present our idea to a board of jurors. So I think our story, at least our personal stories about this, were quite connected to this. And as an outcome, we were lucky enough to be awarded with the second prize of the hackathon of the competition. And afterwards, we started developing the MVP and Monadi right away.
Yeah, it was really nice because we had not known each other for a long time with Radu, and this was we only had a few meetings before, and then at some point we just started working together every day on this idea, and and then we were put on the stage together. It was really like a really great experience for us.
Yeah, I still remember that day as well. People were excited about your solution because this problem was exactly the type of problem that Partisia Blockchain was designed to handle. And the fact that you wanted to solve an upcoming real problem using a blockchain solution based on multi-party computation was very inspirational to us. So why don't we delve a little bit into how does this solution work? How does your product work, and what's the magic behind it?
So currently Monadi is in an MVP state. We're offering and we're trying to handle and foolproof one use case of CSRD. As previously, CSRD covers about 2,000 data points that need to be disclosed, hundreds of disclosure requirements, hundreds and thousands of small things, ESG matters that companies have to come up with in their report. So this use case is about how companies can report on their gender pay gap without having to disclose their underlying data. Why we chose this use case, that we found that this falls under the social scope. So we have found that there is a lot of private data a lot of personal data, a lot of GDPR data in this use case that companies and also personally people and employees do not want to be out. It's not even allowed by legislation to have such data out in the open. That's mostly about their salaries and their gender. So what is amazing about our use case is that, of course, the application is blockchain enabled. With the use of Partisia's blockchain technology, such as zero-knowledge computation, companies can safely add their salaries on our platform without having to worry about any issues or without having to worry that someone is actually storing their underlying data. Everything is on the blockchain in our application. It is secretized. So we do not store ourselves practically any data. We have a full connection to the blockchain. It's a full circle. Everything is stored on a blockchain besides the account that a company creates. But any underlying data that is sensitive will be only stored, and not even stored, but transaction and placed on the blockchain under a secretized, in a secretized way. We currently have a dashboard in our application that shows the progress over the years of how you have disclosed under this gender pay gap. And yeah, our key and our main advantage here is that we are using such technologies like zero knowledge computation, where it allows companies and users to disclose and to offer such information and data like the salary, and not have to worry about it, the data being stored anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's exciting because we are putting something that really does add value back to the real world using blockchain technology. I think these days the blockchain has really been a niche kind of a thing where people who are doing DeFi or people who are doing NFTs, they're very tech savvy, or they're a particular group of people. We're providing a solution to really help the general public, right? It is solving a problem that everybody faces. So I guess here's the million dollar question, two of them, which I think all of the audience is like looking for, right? So the first question is, okay, how many companies are we really talking about that needs this kind of a solution? How large is the scope of CSRD?
So, as I mentioned, that the regulation and the obligation for the companies will come in phases, but it's going to be around 50,000 companies in Europe who fall under this, but then also companies who have operations in Europe that are from outside of Europe, but the operations the revenue or the money that they make is like 150 million, I think, something like this. But it will also be relevant for companies outside of Europe. But for the European companies, it's around 50,000.
By 2026, I think, if I'm correct, Vilma, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So in less than 2 years, at least 50,000 companies will have to. This is the first have to, which is big.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty large number. So we're talking about 50,000 companies with a certain number of people, employees that needs to now required to report back, just on the gender pay gap, and then perhaps in the future other things as well, which is a significant number that we're talking about. So here's a second million dollar question. So then, what is the current status of your project? Is there a version that's upcoming that could be shared with the community? What is the status of the MVP?
Yeah, so we're actually planning to deploy and launch our MVP. We're launching Monadi at the end of this month, and we'll also make it open source for the community, because we do believe in the strong and the big community that Partisia has, that anyone can build on top of it. once Monadi is launched, basically anyone will be able to create an account and start adding data. So by the end of this month, please keep an eye out, and we will be able to launch our application, and it will be ready for everyone. Of course, then we'll have multiple phases and multiple launches of our MVP in the future, and in the very near future. Actually, we're currently working on it. We are trying to enable users to collaborate on this data, so multiple people externally can also add the data secretly on Monadi. So not just one person has to add all the salaries, for instance, in a company, that multiple people. It will be such a fun use case for people to try out in a group where they can all contribute to such use cases.
So that's really interesting. I want to kind of focus in on that a little bit. You mentioned we talked about corporations, companies that really need to do these kinds of reporting. But if you kind of think about it, even the retail people, just, average people like you and me, that doesn't need to report into CSRD as an example. It's actually quite an interesting tool for the retail users to use. So I think what you're kind of talking about is the fact that maybe a group of people, maybe they're friends, maybe they're a group of employees, or maybe they're, a group of a particular organization that say, hey, you know what? I want to know what our group's average salary is. I want to know how many people are making above this much salary and how many people are making below this salary. It just independently. Like I can think about like situations where when I used to work in the corporate side of things, a group of, individual employees would get together and they're like, oh, we have no idea how much we all kind of make. Are we getting paid fairly? This sounds like a tool that they can actually use, retailers can use to jump in on this system, input the individual data in there, and then figure out, oh, hey, this is the average salary. Oh, yeah, nobody's getting, underpaid or nobody's getting overpaid and so on and so forth.
Yes, exactly. I think you're making a great point here that although our use case right now is focused on CSRD and sustainability reporting when it comes to companies, this can be used in so many different ways. If there is a job or a group of friends that have the same job descriptions, they want to find out, hey, am I actually being paid enough? If the three of us are trying to see like what are the differences between male and female payout. So I think you're making a great point here that this can be used in so many different ways, and the potential of this is basically infinite because everyone wants to protect their data, but everyone wants to also find out something.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I love that statement. I really like that statement. Everybody wants to protect their privacy, but we still want to validate and make sure that we're all being treated fairly.
Yeah,
So
especially when it comes, yeah, it's also especially when it's not only about the are we on are we above or below something, but it's also about the diversity question here. Indeed, that's are we as women or men even? It might be the other way around. I'm not saying that it's, but in most of the cases, it's that there is this gap between genders in terms of salary. So that's also, I hope that this will also raise some, this can raise some questions and discussion, etc. I hope that is what Monadi can also do.
yeah, that's fantastic. So first of all, thank you guys both for this time. It's an amazing conversation. I want to invite the audience to see if they have any questions. I think those who are registered in Party will be able to type in any questions if they have it. So I'll give a few minutes for anyone who is interested in asking a question there. Otherwise, of course, you guys can always reach out to us in our Telegram or in our Discord channel with your questions, and we'll be sure to answer them. Okay, so here's a question. How does the onboarding of CSRD required companies work? I'm not sure if I understand that question. I think maybe they're asking, how does a company get onboarded into the system?
Into the into Monadi. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So with this MVP, we're going to create a wiki page and of course instructions on how to use it, and also there will be some information about the CSRD, and especially it uses also the coding system of the regulation itself for that specific data point, and we will give you information about the actual data the actual data that is going to be reported. Uh, but for now, it's going to be instructions and an wiki page. Or what's
But the onboarding on our application is going to be pretty straightforward. For anyone can create a company, and then within that company, you can create a company. Within that account, sorry, everyone can create an account on our platform on Monadi, and then within their personal account, they create a company, and then each company will have a set of disclosures. And for now, we're only handling the gender pay gap use case.
Okay, cool.
So then they can actually put their own company there and then attribute that data to their company.
Okay, cool. Here's the second question, and this is a Web3 question. I knew it was going to come, so be prepared. Will there be a token?
Oh,
That's an interesting question.
that's a very interesting question. I like it.
I think that it's something that it's pretty early on for us to respond to that with a yes or no questions. For now, of course, we're making use of Partisia's MPC and then also their BYOC, their bring your own token to the game approach. So actually, any token can be used. But of course, our goal is to expand Monadi in such a way that it covers all disclosure under CSRD. So later on, of course, we would love to create such a token that signifies sustainability reporting in a way. I think, and I think that's an amazing, and that would be a great goal for us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I'm sure a lot of people are as well. Another question. What other metrics besides gender pay gap will be measured in the future?
There are all sorts of metrics that we can use. One that we have also quite a while thought and discussed is the CO2 emissions. That's also a largely and fair question that everyone has, and it will be included in CSRD. So I think that could be the next use case that we would tackle, because there are a lot of solutions for that in the market at the moment, because it's not only including CSRD. Companies have had to disclose their CO2 emissions for a while, but bringing blockchain to the table, I think that will change a bit. Might change the game for calculating your CO2 emissions and disclosing it.
And also maybe for this question, like some other very interesting topics that are under the CSRD are also biodiversity and ecosystems, the water and marine resources. There is also circular economy. That's like the E part, and on the S part, of course, there is everything that has to do with workforce. Also, when it comes to supply chain and value chain, etc. So there are so many important data points that would be amazing to bring also, or that will be amazing to bring into the tool, and that also the ZK computation can be a really great use case for.
I was now thinking about use case where, of course, CSRD covers the social aspects of work for. You also have to report incidents at work in terms of discrimination, abuse, and all these sorts of stuff. So imagine a use case where we have this whistleblowing system that's secretized, and then zero knowledge fits in perfectly in here, where people can raise certain concerns in the company without having to and all being able to be anonymous about it. So this is a great, I think, also use case for zero knowledge.
Mm. I was going to try to get the audiences excited. I mean, we're talking a lot about like CO2 and biodiversity. I mean, these are all Internet of Things, like IoT device kind of potentials. You're going to make us into a DePIN blockchain here. That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be I think that's next future. You know, to be honest with you, it is ultimately in the end. Something that we also handle extremely well is the data from Internet of Things, IoT devices, and there's a lot of interesting use cases that I think both you guys and others will delve into from a DePIN perspective. Here's another question, and this may be the last one that we have time for. With so many corporate greenwashing their CSR reports, how do you ensure the integrity and privacy of the data?
Yeah, that is a $1 million question still. So the underlying data, of course, is going to be the company information, but with these using our solution, we believe that we can also with the methodology that we like predefine methodologies, and we make sure that the data is calculated correctly. But the underlying data, like the private data that is going to be used, that is going to be a challenge to verify. Or do you want to add something else, Radu?
Yeah, I think that a lot of data will be sensitive, but a lot of data in CSRD is not under GDPR. A lot of data is still public. So then adding it on a blockchain, we do not plan to add all the data in a secret way, because a lot of data is not secret. Not all the data for CSRD is going to be like salary or your gender. A lot of data will be about your impact on the environment that a company will have to disclose anyway publicly. So by having such data available on a blockchain transparently, anyone can access it. So companies are somehow enforced to put the real data in there, because anyone can then later on read it on the blockchain, and no one wants to hand out a report that's based on false data, because the community then here, and it's also the main point of a blockchain, it's the power to the community, and then the community here can always check the underlying data if it's not private.
And also with the report now, there is going to be an auditing. There is going to be auditing on the data, just like financial reporting. So that already also puts more pressure on the companies to actually provide correct data.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
the idea with the whole regulation itself.
I think auditability is one of the very strong points about multi-party competition, that it is auditable. You can layer on a level of governance around it, so that
Precisely.
auditing can be possible. So that's a great question, first of all, and thank you guys for that answer. Last question for you guys. First of all, it's an amazing project. I'm looking so forward to both, helping both the enterprise and the corporate side of things, but also on the retail side, the ability for retail people to be able to use this to ensure fairness, ultimately in the end. If anybody wants to get in touch with you guys, what is the best way?
I think currently, as we said, we're going to launch the application at the end of the month. So our current contact channels are LinkedIn's and then the website of the company, which is sdgmonitor.co, if I'm correct. Is it so, Will?
That is correct. That is correct. sdgmonitor.co, but like you guys can all add us on LinkedIn. That's we are there daily. So
Vilma Catani on LinkedIn, Radu Pavel on LinkedIn. We're always we're interacting quite a lot. And then the LinkedIn of our company, SDG Monitor, has a huge community. We're over how many people currently, Vilma?
we're like 2,300
Yeah.
or so.
We're interacting with our
enthusiasts,
community.
yeah.
We're interacting with our community quite on a weekly basis, and we also put a lot of great content there. So make sure to
Follow.
check out.
Yeah.
Great. Looking forward to it. So Vilma, Radu, thanks so much for this opportunity to jump in with us, give our community a update on this amazing project. Really looking forward to seeing the MVP and introducing that to our community and letting them try it out. Hopefully we'll do this again real soon when you guys have the next version out as well. And yeah, looking forward to chatting again with you guys soon.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
audience.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.